And I'd like to bring in Democratic Senator Bill Nelson of Florida. He's a senior member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. And Senator, I hope you got a chance to listen to what Kelly O'Donnell was just saying about the whole process of trying to secure the release of now Sergeant Bo Bergdahl that date back to November of 2011, going into January of 2012, when there were some briefings to select members on the Hill. Can I ask you first, have you ever had a briefing about this situation as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee?
No, and I can tell you there are other leaders of other committees that feel like that they were not briefed, but recognize that the president, in signing one of these pieces of legislation into law, issued a signing statement that in effect said that he reserved the right to act quickly in the interest of the country. So when it gets right down to it, I don't think any law was broken. The question is, should Congress have been notified simply because of the relations between the legislative and executive branch? That's a different question. And a lot of people here, Democrats as well, that feel that it should.
Well, the question then, sir, if in fact notification had been made, let's say, given the fact you've already got members of the opposition party, particularly, who oppose this deal on its face, what might have been the process had such a notification taken place, if you believe the administration's formulation, which is that time was of the essence because of this young man's health or safety? Would that have just drawn things out for what, weeks, months, days? What do you anticipate?
I think there are times that the president's going to have to act without notification, and I think this is really much to do about nothing with regard to the notification. Now, I think the questions, as Jim Miklashevsky said, there are a lot of facts that we don't know. He used the word squishy. And for example, we're going to have to not prejudge, but if in fact this young soldier, then a private, walked off his duty, in effect abandoning his post, in effect deserting, then that puts a different light on a trade of 1 for 5. But we don't know those circumstances. We don't know, for example, what was his mental state, his condition at the time that he left his unit. These are things that we're going to have to find out in the future.
Well, sir, you know, you yourself were served on active duty for a time in the Army National Guard during the Vietnam era. In your opinion, if, let's say, this young man walked off of his base and then was subsequently captured, I think there's a fine line, I guess, between deserting, actually trying to run off and maybe join the other side or do something nefarious, but walked off the base and got captured, are you saying that that reduces the, I guess, the burden on the United States to bring him back? Would you then oppose, if those facts were true, if he just walked off the base willingly, would you then oppose an operation or a swap to get him back?
My personal preference, it puts a whole different light on it if that's what occurred.
What puts a different light on it, meaning you wouldn't do it?
You've got to remember what General Dempsey said today. He says the policy of our military is you go and get an American regardless, and then you determine what the facts are. Now, that's what the administration did.
And, sir, but you're saying that it would have put a different line on it, meaning that you might have opposed doing it at all. You might have preferred to leave him there if the facts turned out that he just walked off of the base.
Remember, I said I'm not prejudging, but to answer your question, if he did desert, then I think there's a real question of whether you would go in and trade 1 for 5.
Senator Bill Nelson, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.